That is why I haven't made a video in 2 weeks, because I got the funk from somewhere. Oh, camera needs to be up. I got the funk from somewhere. Super bad cold. I've had bad colds, but I have not had a cold quite like this in a long time. I mean, I was in bed for like 10 days straight, pretty much. It was pretty bad. Now it's like a whole chest coffee thing. Not that you care. The point of this video is that I wanted to kind of do a video that's a little bit easy on me. This is actually a topic that my wife thinks that you guys probably want to know about, and that is my top 5 gun show regrets. These are the guns that keep me up at night. These are the guns that while I'm laying in bed late at night, trying to sleep, and I can't sleep, I just think about these guns and these gun deals and what I could have had. So here we go. In no particular order, I just wrote down the first 5 that I could really think of. And you know, I've been doing gun shows for so long now that I'm sure there's just a whole bunch of other deals that I didn't even, maybe that I saw and I just didn't realize at the time and I just haven't remembered. But these are the ones that I could think of. These are the ones that I probably think of most often. So these are the ones that I wrote down I want to share with you guys. All right, so the first gun that I regret not buying is a World War I vintage Lithgow or Lithgow, however you guys pronounce it, an SMLE. And so I was at a gun show in Washington State, and this guy had Enfields on this table, all SMLEs, and they were all under $300. Like, it was pretty crazy. But there was another gun there at the show at a different vendor that was also an amazing deal. It was a Type 99 Arisaka with a last ditch, well, like the bamboo sheath bayonet with the capture paper, the document that, the soldier brought it back with. It was like a package deal for like $400. So I bought that, right? And I didn't bring a whole lot of money at the time. At the time, I think finance was a little bit tight. And I went by this table and I saw all the SMLEs. His cheapest SMLE was I think it was a GRE or GRI marked SMLE. I offered him all the money I had, which was like $180, and he accepted it. So he wouldn't take $180 for the Lithgow SMLE, but he was asking $225 for the Australian SMLE, and so that's one of those guns that I just kind of am like, man, like I really wish I would have just got the extra $40. I would have got the nicer SMLE. But I had the other one. I had the cheaper SMLE at the time. So I wish I would have got it. It's one of those things that's bothered me because you don't see, that many $225, Australian Enfields out there. So my second gun show regret for not buying is I was at a different gun show in Washington State. And this is the crazy thing. I don't know what it was, but man, the gun shows in Washington State, when I lived there like 6 or 8 months or something like that. Can't remember how long I lived there. But when I was there, I went to gun shows. There seemed to be one like every other weekend at least. They were just fantastic. Man, the Milsurp market is just, I don't know what it is now with all the laws and stuff that they passed recently, but Milsurp market was great. So I'm at this show, and there's a table there and a guy. He's selling all sorts of cheap stuff. He has 2 K98Ks on the table, and he's got a Norwegian Krag, and he's got some other stuff. So the Norwegian Krag was $800. It was the Norwegian carbine version Krag. I forgot the model designation, like 1916 or something. The Norwegian carbine. But the K98Ks, there were 2 K98Ks. One was a Russian capture, and then the other one was like a Balkan capture or something like that, K98K. And I ended up buying both of those K98Ks for like $550. But because I bought those K98Ks, I didn't have the additional $800 to buy that Norwegian Krag. And boy, I think about that Norwegian Krag quite often. I mean, $800. Now when I see them, when I find them on Gunbroker, they seem to go for like $1,200 or something like that. So I just, one of these days, I have to get on Norwegian Krag. I've had a Danish and I've had a US Krag, and I just really need a Norwegian one for some reason. All right, now this one is a long, long time ago. This is way back when I was still living in Florida. This is a gun show in Tampa. Real big, it was a really cool show. At the time, I didn't have a whole lot of money though. So I go there, had a pretty low budget. I think my max budget was like $300, right? So I'm walking around the show. I find a Lee Enfield. It's a, it's an SMLE. I forget the dates and everything that was on it because it was probably like 10 years ago. But I do remember looking at it, and it had the magazine cut off, and it had the volley sights. And the price on it was something like $250. Pick it up, I'm like, wow, $250. This is a great deal. I start talking to the guy who's selling it. He goes ahead and knocks off another $25 for like no reason. So $225 for an SMLE with the volley sights and mag cut off. Outstanding. Like, I'm getting this thing. Well, stupid me. I go and I open up the gun. I open up the action. He cuts the tie off, and I'm checking out the action. I open it up, and I notice that the magazine doesn't have a follower in it, and the chamber looks really, really small, and that's because this was a trainer. This was a 22 trainer. And I see it, and I just go, oh man, I don't want a 22. I want something in big old, good old 303. So I turned it down, and I'm pretty sure I went home. I lived like 4 hours. I lived like 4 hours from Tampa at the time. I went home, did some research, and realized my mistake. The 22 trainers for SMLEs are more expensive than the regular rifles, and especially with all those features, man. But $225, I could have had one of those, and geez, that one really haunts me. You're starting to see a theme here of me being stupid and not knowing what good deals that I was looking at the time. And I mean, this is just one of those things. This is how we learn. I just didn't know about all Milsurps, back in the day. And this next one on the list is another one that really irks me. So this time I'm in St. George, Utah. I'm at a gun show in St. George, Utah. Walking around, talking to this real friendly guy. He's got a bunch of Swedish guns. His big thing is Swedes, and I'm really into him as well. We start talking about Swedish guns and everything. Real friendly guy. He even gave me a Swedish carbine sling. Just gave it to me, which is incredible because those things are pretty expensive. And but one of the things that he had on his table, I had no idea what it was. Okay, I didn't know what it was. Kind of looked like an SKS to me, right? It was a short rifle, had a folding bayonet, in the front of it, had about like a 10-round magazine, 7.62 by 39. Had a funny name, right? He called it a funny name, something like Rashid, right? So I don't know anything about it. Of course, now I know what a Rashid is, and now I know that it was really good, and I should have bought it because the price was $400, and it was in really, really good shape. It was probably the best Rashid I've ever seen. And the guy only wanted $400 for it. I didn't know what it was at the time. I didn't know anything about, the whole Swedish semi-automatic derivatives and stuff like that. But, oh man, that's it. Again, that's another one. That's another one of those deals. A $400 beautiful Egyptian Rashid that I could have bought. I was an idiot. I don't know. It's bad stuff. All right, and last but not least, this one's another one of those that's from probably 10 plus years ago. I used to work at gun shows in Tallahassee. Me and my friend, we would set up tables, and I would help them sell ammo cans and maybe sell some stuff of mine and whatever. But I did that for a few years. It was a lot of fun. I loved working the gun shows. And the Tallahassee Gun Show used to be a lot better than I hear it is now. So this is kind of 10 years ago, so you kind of have to think about what the market was 10 years ago. But a guy walked into the show with a rifle case, a pretty big rifle case, and he goes up to our table. We end up talking to him. And in the rifle case is one of these guys. He had a G43 in this rifle case, and he had about 4 or 5 of these magazines. These magazines are about like $300 a piece or something like that nowadays. He had like 4 or 5 magazines and the rifle, and he only wanted $1,200 for the whole package. And it's like, I didn't have $1,200. There's no way it was possible for me to buy that gun. Like $1,200 is like all I had in my checking account, you know, like 10 years ago. And just, there's no way I could afford it if I wanted to pay bills and stuff like that. But gee, that gun I probably think about the most. Like how good of a deal that would have been. Like what a great investment. Because something like that nowadays, that's probably $3,000 or so. Like that's, oh boy, that's one of those. That's one of those. So let me know if you have any Gunshow regrets. Luckily, I don't have any like purchasing regrets. I don't have anything that I bought and regret buying. I tend to lean on like the not buying it unless I'm absolutely sure side, which causes me to have quite a few, you know, wish I would have bought it regrets instead of wish I didn't buy it regrets. So let me know what you guys think. I read all the comments, so I mean, there's only like 12 of you that are going to comment anyway, but you know, I'll read your comments, and I'm just really curious what you guys think. So I want to share with you my latest Gunshow find, and I want you to call out when you think you know what it is. So here we go, just the tip, right? Here's the front end of the bayonet lug. This probably gave it away to a lot of people. There we go. That's my latest Gunshow find. Bought that a couple weeks ago. This is a Belgian 8936. And the funny thing about this gun was that the sellers of this gun had no idea what it was. They thought this was Argentine. They had no idea that this was Belgian. So I think I got a pretty good deal on this gun. It's a pretty neat gun. You know, when I bought this, I realized that I don't really know that much about Belgian guns or FN Mausers or anything like that. So this gun has caused me to do a lot of research. I keep banging this other gun. This gun has caused me to do a lot of research into Belgian guns, and I bought Van der Linden's FN Mauser book. So I'm going to do some reading on this, and maybe if I think it's worthy enough, I'll make a video about this gun. Because these aren't super common. You really don't see these 8936 Mausers a whole lot. I heard some preliminary reasons on why that is, but that could be anybody's guess. Lily and I appreciate you guys watching. If you get bored and want to talk Milsurps, send me a message over on the Milsurp World Facebook page. And I check that pretty frequently. So thanks for watching.